Hello and welcome to another Nerd Rant. Finally in our new studio, which looks surprisingly similar to the old studio.
At least we tried. We tried hard to remodel the studio after we moved house. Or I moved house and the studio is it used to be inside of my basement and now it's below the roof.
Yeah, we're in the attic now.
Because it's a big improvement for me. No more basement. No more spiders, hopefully.
Yeah, no more Spider Kingdom.
And sitting beneath the roof will be hot in the summer. But so far,
I quite like the room, I must admit. I quite like it. Although it's a bit, due to the angled roof, it kind of is smaller in a way, but looks more spacious in a way, because it's higher, I think.
Yes, but for you out there, it should be similar.
Hopefully. So we're still tweaking our tech. I think we still have the delay in here in our audio. We'll figure that out at some point, maybe.
Hopefully.
But
now we are really glad that everything works. Because usually if you just take stuff and then put it in a box and move it somewhere and then you just rewire it, it does not work.
It usually breaks, yeah. And in this case, it didn't. And one thing I want to point out, which I really like here, is that some of the images you're seeing here, for example, this one and the one behind you, actually the two behind you, are images painted by your late father.
Yes, my father used to be a fine arts painter. And back in the 70s, he used to do a lot of oil painting, and some of his paintings now made it as decoration in the background of our studio.
Not only is that a part where your father lives on, but also we managed to use some of his old hardware actually in the studio.
That's true. We used the analog or vintage lens that he used with his analog camera back in the day. And I actually used this camera to apply for my university, where I had to create a photo portfolio in the 90s using film. And I used this very lens.
So it's the one that's actually filming me, this one there. So I'm not sure if we have the focus dialed in correctly, but it worked nicely with the focal lengths that we needed for this room here.
Yes.
Also, let's talk a bit about gadgets today.
The thing is, you are thinking about traveling again over the winter.
Yes.
Again, to some area where the weather is a little bit more friendly than usually in Germany. Yeah. Although we had a very nice summer. Yeah. Portugal it is. And for that, you need some portable gear.
I need some gear to take with me, and I'm not a huge fan of permanently working on a laptop. I don't like the ergonomics. I do not like the performance, especially of smaller laptops, and a laptop to me has to be smallish. So in my case, in my opinion, it doesn't make sense to go with a 15 or 17-inch laptop because you're hauling around so much weight, and I think a laptop should be focused on portability and not necessarily...
No, that's true. I'm working with a 17-inch Razer blade.
How do you find that?
And I love it. I like it a lot, but I'm using it basically as a stationary computer. And I attached a monitor to it and an external keyboard and a mouse and a Wacom tablet. So it's basically just a good-looking second monitor. Yeah. You're right. For traveling, it's not the right thing.
I mean, for traveling, it can be the right thing if you're having to travel lightly and spontaneously and often set up shop in different locations, which is not the case with me. I'll have to haul that stuff down to Portugal.
You just have to bring the stuff once to Portugal, then stay there, then bring it back. That's the case with me too. I'm staying in Nuremberg during the semester, and I need some computing power there. That is why I got this laptop, but then I found that bringing the laptop with me all the time annoyed me. So I just kept my old PC over here and have the laptop there as a stationary PC. And although the 17-inch Razer blade is well built, more or less like an Apple computer, not really, but quite nice. Alloy, aluminium. I'm the aluminium fraction case. But and the performance is nice. It has a 3080 mobile.
Oh, nice.
It's quite okay, but still it's a laptop. Yeah. It's nowhere near my standalone PC, so you're right.
So what I did last winter, speaking of traveling nuisance, is I traveled with a laptop and with my desktop. which was quite massive back then because I was using still the Fractal design case that I recommended back when I built it, and I still can recommend this case. It's a lovely case. It's spacious enough to fit everything in there, including AIO water coolings and multiple water coolers for GPUs if you want that. Yet it's small enough so that you don't get issues with hose length and stuff. However, for traveling, it's a handful because I put it back into its shipping crate, which adds, of course, like 10 centimeters on each side. And I had to get it to the oversized luggage bin on the airport, and on the way back, I had to even discuss if they would allow bringing it on the plane because they thought it contained a battery, I think, which it didn't. So all a bit stressful. So
and expensive, isn't it?
It's the same as if you'd be traveling with your normal oversized luggage. So yeah, you pay. Or something. Yeah, exactly. Actually, sports gear can be surprisingly cheap because it usually isn't heavy. Which I also found out when shipping my bike. And we can do a separate nerd rant about bikes. Let's put that on the shelf for now. So the thing is, traveling with that thing, especially hauling it around from the airport to the flat, yada yada, is annoying. So I looked into small form factor cases.
That was my question, because the big form factor is annoying.
Yeah.
A laptop is not performant enough. Yeah. So what is the solution?
Small form factor for me. However, when you start researching those, you can easily see that they are geared, as most of the hardware nowadays when it comes to PC desktops, for gamers. So most of them only support one GPU, sometimes even a short length GPU or only a flat GPU. Some of those support two, but have a bit of a...
But you, of course, need four.
Of course, I want four. I want the possibility to fit a full-size ATX board in there with a Threadripper.
What if the fourth generation of NVIDIA cards is 4 height units high?
Then I'd have a mechanical issue with any case, yes, and because the mainboard is a limiting factor. However, what I found and settled on, and we have to put a bit of space here on the desk, I think, because I want to put it on here. Let's just...
Ta-da!
Ta-da is this one. Let me set it up here. It is damn heavy, but it is small. So this is, what you can see in the background as well, this is called the Sliger Cerberus X. It fits a full-size ATX motherboard, and it fits 4 GPUs.
4?
Let me open it. I'll have to just put away the laptop that controls our streaming. Let's hope it still works. And then let me open this up. Slightly brutal here, just ripping the case open.
Because everything is very heavy and well built. It's really...
Yeah, I like the quality of it.
Yeah.
So that is the case. So we got 4 GPUs here, 4 NVIDIA 2070s, 2080s. We've got an AIO water cooler here, 240 radiator, going through the CPU that sits behind the power supply unit. And, well, my cable management is basically just stuffing cables in empty spaces that were left.
Are you planning on improving on this?
No.
Great.
No, I never plan on improving on cable management. And this is what I'll try traveling with and working with. I have the feeling it's going to be toasty inside there, especially since all these are air-cooled. However, I'm also expecting to exchange these later in the year or early next year for hopefully fitting NVIDIA 40XX graphics cards.
It doesn't get much smaller than this, does it?
When you want a full-size ATX board with the possibility of adding 4 GPUs, this is the smallest I could find after a bit of research.
I mean, there is de facto no space left.
No, there's very little space left.
And of course it is heavy, but it is manageable.
Especially since it's got the carrying handle, which was kind of important to me as I wanted to lug this around quite often.
And you will take it as hand luggage?
I hope they let me on board with it, but yes, that's the plan. I mean, size-wise, it should be no issue. And I think they don't have issues.
Weight-wise?
Yeah, let's see. No, but that's the plan. And I mean, there are very little moving parts. Moving parts are 2 fans up here, the pump for the water cooled, and these 4 fans, and this 5th one here in the PSU.
I'm really jealous. I really like it. Not because it is so small, but because of the build quality, and it looks really nice for a PC case, that is. And everything is just beautifully made.
The only thing that really annoys me, and I agree that this thing is beautifully built. let me just turn this around. The only thing annoying me is that the power button is silver. And it's one of those standard vandalism-proof just power buttons, standard industry stuff. And I mean, you can get those in black as well, and it would fit the case so much better. So maybe at some point I'll exchange that myself, but for now...
By the way, you can
really
get
like
the
it.
case in
I'll put that
different
down.
colors, right?
You can get the case in, at least with the European distributor, you can get the case in white, gray, and black, that is.
I like the white one the most, to be honest. But I'm a used to be Apple guy, so...
Yeah, PC guy here, so I'm socialized
course.
with black, of course.
No, it's a really nice case. Actually, a little bit jealous.
It's an expensive case. It costs about 3 times as much as a Fractal case. Build quality is excellent, I must say, but still I was hesitant to shell out 300 euros for the case. So far I'm happy. The build was really easy. I was just taking out the old hardware from my old workstation, putting it in this thing. The only thing that slightly annoyed me with the water cooler that I have, which is by Xilence or Xilence, I don't know how you pronounce them. Due to the position of the hoses coming out of the pump, I'd have to take out one RAM.
Oh, that's really annoying.
And more annoying is that with the Threadripper boards, you cannot take out one single piece of RAM.
course.
You have to
They
take
come in
out
pairs.
4. No, they come in quad channels. So you have to take out 4. So instead of a 128 gigs of RAM, I now have 64. So I'm waiting for another pump, another AIO, and see if that fits better, and I'll report on that.
That would be good.
But nevertheless, 64 gigabytes for a traveling workstation as well works for me.
No. If it gets the job done, I think it will be fantastic.
One more
But
thing.
you have to attach it to something to look at, right? And bringing your 32-inch monitor with you on the plane is probably not a good idea.
Exactly. So you pointed out, and you actually said that previously, you mentioned it, that you have these portable monitors. And this is actually your monitor that we found here in this, let me just switch
And
over.
let's make some space again.
In this beautiful fall leather case.
Well,
and maybe you show it. It's
not
your monitor.
It's not beautiful at all, but it fits this beauty here, which is a 15-inch.
15.6, yes.
It's basically just a laptop monitor with this flap attached.
Mm-hmm.
So you just put it like this on the table, and it stands, and it serves its purpose. And it's even a touchscreen. It has a good brightness. It can be connected through Thunderbolt, USB 3, or even HDMI.
Cool.
You can attach it directly, even to a phone.
Oh, wow.
By the way, you can even rotate it to use it
Vertically.
vertically. Portrait orientation if you want to. But if you want to use the full brightness, you need a second
Power source.
that comes with the monitor, but you have to supply power through the second USB 3 port to the monitor to get the brightness.
What's
But
the
it is a
resolution?
good 4K. Okay. It's a 4K resolution touchscreen. I bought it to go with my 17-inch Razer.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I would use this setup for working in Nuremberg, but then decided to get a desk monitor because I'm not moving that much, right?
Yeah.
I have 2 setups now. But for your purpose, this is probably a good idea.
Yeah, I'm looking very much into that, and I think our research so far has shown that what we are seeing here is that they offer a 17.3 inches now. In
The brand,
4K.
by the way, is called U Perfect, and it's just buy it on Amazon thing, so nothing very special. But the reviews overall are good, and they work nicely. I have it for a year now, and it worked for me, even on a daily basis.
What's the viewing angle stability? So when you're coming from different sides?
Quite nice. I would compare it to the display of the Razer.
Okay, cool.
So for me, it worked.
Excellent. So that's the plan, traveling with this
And you
gear.
will get 1 or 2 of them.
Thinking about it, it depends if you want to put that 15.6 on loan for the winter time.
Yeah.
Then I'll get 1, and if not, I'll consider getting 2.
Yeah, probably. Because then it's really a solid setup, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you put these on something to make them a little higher, I don't know, piece of wood, piece of scrap metal you find on the streets in Portugal,
bunch of books,
then it could really work to
I'll
pump
see.
out the tutorials.
I'll see.
Yeah, fantastic. By the way, nothing of this is in any way sponsored.
Oh, yeah,
So it's just our personal findings that we are sharing with you.
Yeah, we paid the full price for everything here, and it's kind of important to us that we're not being sponsored.
Exactly. Just as a little remark, it's just we found these things to be useful. And if you are traveling a lot, if you are a freelancer that is moving from gig to gig, you might consider buying something along these lines too.
Absolutely. So that's moving houses, rebuilding studio, hardware setups for traveling, anything else.
By the way, talking hardware setups,
yeah.
you told me a very interesting story that I didn't hear before, and that is I was telling you that I was moving house and I wanted to fix my door, and I used, of course, as everybody, WD-40 for it. Mm-hmm. As everybody does. There is even this little meme on the internet where the cap of the can of WD-40 is not coming off. Yeah. And then there's a Family Guy dude, I think, has a little WD-40 can on his belt that he uses to get this cap off. Very funny. And you told me why this thing is called WD-40.
I think most people by now should have heard this story. I read it on Wikipedia. I assume it's correct. So WD-40 stands for Water Displacement Formula 40. So apparently
water displacement.
Yeah.
That is what it does, right?
It just displaces water. And basically it's not meant as a lubricant or not meant as a solvent, although it can serve as this. Your mileage may vary, but originally it was intended for intercontinental ballistic missiles. So actually, this is one of the few things that actually comes out of the space race, or actually the ICBM race. Teflon doesn't.
So this is rocket tech.
Yeah, Teflon isn't rocket tech. Teflon is coolant tech from the 30s. WD-40 is ICBM tech because the first ICBM that was fielded with the Americans, the Atlas rocket, was a very weird construction. So in order to keep it light, they used the tanks as structure, but they kept the sidewall of the tanks very thin. So they had to inflate it, either by pressurizing it with the fuel or with some nitrogen gas when it was sitting on the ramp and not fueled yet. However, this thing not only tended to attract condensation water on the ramp,
especially in Florida, right?
Exactly. Also, as it was cryogenic fuels, this condensation water tended to freeze on the rocket.
Yeah.
Causing A, corrosion problems, and B, when it lifted off, having those huge packs of ice stuck to it. So what they actually ended up doing is hosing down the whole rocket with WD-40. So in order to repel the water or do a thin film of this petrol component between the water and the ice, so that if the rocket lifted off, it would vibrate off those huge pieces of ice and not be hindered by it in flight. So I think that is the story of WD-40. I hope I'm not messing it up.
Displacement. And you told me they tried 40 different formulas.
That's the
and that is why it is called
legend.
40.
That's the legend.
So now we know even that. To me, it was very interesting. Never heard it before, and never had the idea to look up WD-40 on Wikipedia.
I mean, that's what you do on a slow Sunday evening, I guess.
Exactly. That's exactly what you do.
All right. I think with that, welcome to our new studio. Hopefully, we'll be able to rant more frequently.
Let's rant.
And until next time.
Yes.
Cheers and goodbye.
Bye.